Welcome to The Business of Family, the podcast where we explore the stories, challenges, and opportunities of family businesses. I'm your host, Tammy, and I'm a family business survivor and also a family business advisor. In this show, we will be talking with family business leaders and experts to bring you insights and inspiration so you too can survive your family business journey. Whether you're a founder, a successor, a professional, or just curious about family businesses, this podcast is for you. Today, we're rewinding the tape and bringing you one of our most impactful conversations from the past. These are the episodes that started it all: foundational stories, powerful insights, and timeless lessons from families in business, experts in the field, and leaders who've shaped the way we think about legacy. Whether you're tuning in again or hearing it for the first time, there's always something to take away. So let's hit play on today's Legacy on Repeat. So welcome. How are you?
Great. How are you doing, Tammy? We're happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. So Justine, and we have Terry here with us.
Good to be here, Tammy. Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you for coming in. Well, we have quite a story to tell, don't we?
Yes,
We have a lot.
So.
Yeah.
We've been through some changes lately.
So.
Yeah. Well, you know, the reason I wanted you to come in is because you're a family business. And we work with first and second generation family businesses, and there's a lot of struggles. There's a lot of wonderful opportunities that come out of it. And I really wanted you to come in and talk to our listeners about a family business. So let's start at the very beginning. When did you realize, Terry, as a first generation founder, that you were actually a family business?
I don't know. I never planned on it or anything, but I would say that it was probably 10 years ago. And Justine had been in the company with me for 9 years at that point in time. She's 19 years now. And she was starting to take over more of the managerial role. And that's when I really came to realize, yep, we got a family thing going on here.
Well, and you have other children as well.
That's right. I've got two others. And actually, one of them joined the company about 2 years ago. He had been with another insurance carrier. And we knew he'd probably come into our business at some point, so he did about 2 years ago. But he didn't have a managerial role and didn't have shares, unlike Justine, who started a buyout about 10 years ago.
Okay. And Justine, when did you think of it as a family business? Because you were working in the business for 9 years.
Yeah, I think it might have occurred to me slightly earlier, and only because I had the benefit of being introduced to what at that time was the Canadian Association of Family Enterprise, is now Family Enterprise Canada. And I was introduced to that group, to that association, and was immediately put into a personal advisory group. And a personal advisory group is a group where you sit with other family businesses from different industries and different generations of business, and you talk about everything, business, family, everything that's happening, so that you can share your experiences together. And at that time, as I'm sitting in this group, it occurred to me we were actually a family business, because until then it was just, I went and started working with my mom, and it seemed to be working out for us. And that was the extent of it. So I've been a part of that group now for almost 15 years. And so it was sometime in between 10 and 15 years ago that it occurred to me.
Yeah. And so what would you, if you were going to define a business versus a family business, because it's the same business, you know, what would be the difference? Like, what is your definition of a family business versus for the first 9 years you had family working for you or with you, and it was a business? But then it became a family business when she started to take over more responsibilities. Was that the triggering? Like, what was the triggering?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess it starts, even though I didn't realize it was a family business in the beginning, it starts at the very beginning. Because as soon as a family member expresses interest in coming into the business, and it was Justine that came to me about joining the company, when she did, you know, my first thought is, okay, we're working together. We're still part of a family. Are we going to be able to work together and still get along? What's it going to be like? What's the family dynamic like? What's it like working with your daughter? What's it like at family gatherings when you work with her? Are we going to be able to separate family and business? All the things I think you really think about. Then I look at it as an evolution. From that point of view, or from that point of time, we actually, you know, it worked out very well. It was worked out really well for the last 19 years. And there was at no point in time I thought, whoa, wish I would never got into this. Though, I
Well,
really
maybe there's certain days.
Yeah.
When I'm looking at
Yeah.
Justine, I want to hear the answer from Justine on that one.
But then when you keep on going and then you realize, okay, we're past this initial stage where it's training stage and everything else. She's competent. She's more than competent. And I see a future for her in the business. Now, how do we move that forward? And I thought, wow, if I was ever dealing with anybody else, I would never have thought about that. And that's the big difference. It's just that you have to be cognizant of family dynamics within business. And if you're just not a family business, you wouldn't think that way at all.
Yeah, yeah. Now, do you agree with that?
I do. I think, in joining the business, I think we were both a little worried. We never lived together well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a teenager for a lot of those years.
That's just the age. That's just the age.
But we worked together well. And I think we're very like-minded in business, actually, which helps a lot. And we have a lot of the same personality traits that we share in common, lend themselves towards running successful business together, maybe more so than living together.
So what I find interesting is that you saw this as more of a family business a few years before your mom. So who brought up the discussion of ownership?
I don't know. I think it was me.
Yeah.
I think it was me. I think I always had said to you, no, I didn't always say. Once I realized that you were very good in the business, and I think that was probably in 7 or 8 years, then I think that's when I started the discussions with you about your future in the company. And I used to always say, you could strive to be the president of the company, and I'll be that CEO that oversees it. That was my initial conversation with her. And I'll talk to you later about how that evolved, because that's an evolution unto itself.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you on that time frame. I think it was you who brought it up initially. And I think there was a reason we had to have some sort of evaluation done, and I can't remember what it was, but it wasn't to do with ownership amongst each other, but that also lended itself to, why don't we look at what the value of your business within the business is, so that we can start understanding what you're contributing to this business's value.
It's called estate freeze.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Estate freeze.
There was a lot of things happening.
Yep.
So what I find fascinating is you have 3 children. One came into the business almost 20 years ago. And I remember when you came into the business. That's a little scary. But you had another son or another child come into the business a couple of years ago. So what prompted that? You said they were somewhere else. So why didn't they come in earlier? How did that discussion even start?
Well, he's quite a bit younger than Justine. So, I mean, he wasn't at the same spot that Justine was when she came into the business. And he wanted a different route. I mean, he's quite athletic. He went to British Columbia and never came back. So, of course, we have a Zavits Insurance and Wealth BC office, pretty close to Whistler.
A Hub International company.
A Hub International company. And so he was out west. That was one thing. Second of all, he wanted to pursue the sports industry, and he actually did that quite successfully. Realized that there was only so many places that he could go with it, and I encouraged him to take the CFP course, the Certified Financial Planning course. He already had his postgrad in business, so he had a good background in that. He really liked the Certified Financial designation and so on, and then he wanted to do something with it and didn't know what it was, and had interviewed at a few different places, insurance companies and so on, wasn't really keen on anything. And then I thought about Bruce Burnham and Program Insurance Brokers, who I've been affiliated forever, another London company, family company. And Bruce talked to me one time and I said, I've got the person for you if you want somebody out west. And that's how that all started. So we owed allegiance to Bruce, and so Jarrett stayed there and was very good and learned a lot about the insurance industry. And then I think we approached him. You and I had some big discussions about that, and we decided to approach him about coming into the family business, right?
Yeah, I don't know if we approached him or if he heard you and I talking one time when we were out west. We knew that as we continued down the path of a succession plan that was ever evolving and changing, right? Because you start figuring out that this actually isn't going to work the way you thought it was going to work, or maybe I don't actually have that skill set where Terry does. And one thing that came to my mind was the one block of business that we've got within our company, I wasn't all that interested in. I could do it. I probably couldn't do it as well as what our clients are accustomed to. And I didn't really want to. And so it leads you to the question of, well, if you wanted to walk out the door tomorrow, or we're forced out the door tomorrow for some health reason, because, we're in insurance, so we think that way.
Yeah.
That would be an area of the company that I couldn't support. And so I would be forced into a decision I might not want to make, like packaging it up and selling it off or something.
Right.
So as we had that conversation, I think, probably we were out west enjoying a cocktail on a patio overlooking the mountains as we're chatting about this. And I think Jarrett was there and thought I would come do that with you guys. Like, that's kind of my wheelhouse. That's what I like doing. And, I think that led into it. I'm sure we threw his name on the table a few times amongst ourselves, but I'm not sure if we actually proactively approached him.
Well,
or
we
not.
didn't. And the reason we didn't is that it was pre-COVID. And the whole idea about him being out west and having clients, we have clients all over Canada, but mostly in Ontario, that was a roadblock to us. But COVID taught us there are no roadblocks in business.
No, not anymore.
No.
Not anymore. It was a good thing that came out of COVID.
Yeah.
Was video calls and, working anywhere.
Exactly.
Anywhere, including the Zavits Insurance and Wealth Hub International Company Squamish office near Whistler.
That's funny. So you bring your son in, and did you bring him in as a partner? Did you bring him? Is he a partner? Is he did he just come in as an employee like Justine, how you started? You come on in and.
Yeah, that's exactly how he came in. And, this is an area where I was really thankful for my PAG group at Family Enterprise Canada. Is that I was excited. I'm always excited by things that I think are going to work out really well. And I obviously, adore my brother and think he's amazing. And so I'm going, this is going to be great. He's coming into the company. I'm so excited about this. And they're like, I'm sure it's going to be amazing. Have these conversations before he gets in. And it was just about, I've been here for so many years. I have been actively buying the business, and this has been our active game plan. And I'm not telling you that you can't come in on that game plan, because you totally can. But let's have you come in first and make sure that this is even going to work.
It's going to work, right?
Right. And if it doesn't work, if we either don't work well together, or the idea of you being in BC and handling a lot of our Ontario clients doesn't work well together, or whatever, then it's an easy out. But otherwise, I'm going to be equally as fair to you as Mom's been to me in bringing you into that mix at that time.
Right. Because if you're actively pursuing the full ownership of Zavits, then would we consider that you were more the lead then to make these decisions as the face moving forward?
I never had any discussions with them, so I guess so.
That I find hard to believe.
Yeah, right? I was like, are you sure? I mean, yes and no. I think, again, we know when we need to tap on each other's shoulders to make decisions. We don't, either one of us, go around making any decisions that are going to have an impact on the company that would be greater than, we'd be willing to accept on our own as responsibility, right? So was I the lead? I don't think so. I think we were co-leaders. I think we, you excelled in one area of the leadership and I excelled in the other, and we co-led pretty well together that way.
That's good. And I know you have both done your Colbys. Do you know your Colby numbers?
We're
Very
exactly
similar.
the same.
Okay, I was going to say no, because that can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing, right? Because you can either both jump off the cliff together. There's nobody there to stop you, right? You either both go or you're both in the weeds.
We have two on our management team who are probably opposite Colbys to us. So they are the ones holding us off the cliff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to hold you back a little bit, right?
Yeah, because we are both
Quick starts.
quick starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
got
I
lots
think
of ideas.
our numbers
Oh,
are
yeah.
different by like one or something. It's really similar. So.
Lots of ideas, great brainstorming, no follow through.
Yeah. Yeah.
None.
Like, does anyone
totally
remember
understand
who
that.
did that or was going to do that? Or
Yeah, all these balls in the air. Someone's got to pluck it out and actually do something
Yeah.
with it. Well, that's interesting. So it's he's been with you now for a couple of years.
Yep.
yeah, 2.5, 3, 2, 3.
I think, yeah, 2.5, I think.
Now, is there an opportunity for the last child to come in?
No, he is definitely not coming in. I can tell you that. He has no interest whatsoever. He actually went into the construction business, and he is a red seal carpenter and then became a project manager at a large construction company, and then ended up buying a construction franchise called Alair Homes. And it's a fabulous franchise for anybody in the construction business that you would really wonder whether you could keep the back end up, such as pay your taxes and so on. But it's got a great organization, software system behind it. And so he went into that and started a company probably 8 years ago and is very successful. So in Squamish too, by Whistler.
Oh, wow.
Near
okay.
the, yes,
All right.
he might have built the Zavits Insurance and Wealth Hub International Company office near Whistler. And
Yeah, near Whistler, really close to Whistler for nice skiing.
yeah, he might have built that. But yeah, so he has no interest, but he's a business owner on his own, with his
Right.
own employees, with his own issues that you have to face.
Right, right. Now, I mean, we've talked about this, a Hub International Company. Tell me about a Hub International Company. You were Zavits Insurance and Wealth, and now we've added this extra little tagline. Tell me a little bit about that.
Where do we start? Because we never planned to sell.
Yeah. And then we did. That's no.
The end. Thank you very much for coming in.
Tammy. No.
If you only knew what we went through,
Yeah.
I bet you
what
do.
what brought up this whole,
Well, I'm sure you know it having been in this industry
and
for
having
some time before.
transitioned out as well?
Yes, exactly. That there's a lot happening out there in this business. There's a lot of consolidation, a lot of people out there looking to buy good businesses. So we've been approached numerous times by every company out there, and we have always said to each other we'd entertain a conversation just simply to know what's happening.
Right.
Right? You always want to know what's out there, what people are doing, and why they're doing it. And no company ever really impressed us. And we did sit down with Hub at one point in time before, and we'd said no, but we also walked away saying if we were to ever do it, that's probably the one that we'd go with.
Right.
They had the best, platform and positioning and ideas and growth trajectory and so on. They had very good answers and very good people there. And then it was a family business that we know very well that ended up selling to them as well. So we sat down with them. We said, tell us about this, because this is a conversation that we probably had 6 months before.
Over wine at the London Club.
Yeah. And
Maybe
so
more than
always-
once.
Is there a theme here about cocktails?
Yeah.
Yeah, wine at the London Club was really popular for that year and a half. And so, as they talked to us about it, we thought, okay, well, we're not going to say we're going to do it, but we will sit back down with them and listen to them some more. Because really at the end of the day, what our friends were saying was, kind of ringing true to us and what we were looking for, which was they have a really good value proposition, a lot of supports for you on the management side, which, as you know, Tammy, you get into business to you get into business to run a business and work with your clients and have fun, and then all of a sudden you're a manager and you manage employees and you're like, oh, I didn't want to
anymore.
get into this part of it.
No.
So
I just want to work with the clients.
exactly. Like, I don't know what you're talking about and I don't have time to deal with it is kind of the answer you want to throw at them, but you can't. So it was really nice that they were able to, they said they've got these supports for you and so on. And then what we learned more about was that there was so much opportunity, not just for us, but for every single one of our staff members for growth. Whether it's growth within an administrative role within a company because they've got, they're international, they've got roles that we would never have at Zavits Insurance at Wealth. And they've got lines of business that we don't do that would allow us to provide a more enhanced offering to our clients. They've got expertise that we don't have that we'd be able to share with our clients. And all in all, whether you're a new advisor in our office, whether you're Terry or myself who've been at it for a while, or whether you're on the administrative team, you've got so much room and potential for growth that we could just never provide to someone else.
Right.
And, for myself, I was 9 years into a 10-year buyout. So I was almost at that point where I owned this company that I'd been working in for so long. And for myself, the other question I had to ask was, my mom's always said she doesn't want to retire. She doesn't want to retire. And I'm more than happy to always have her around as long as she can still do the job.
There's been questionable moments, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. Maybe when she was 80, though, I would have to do something. But yeah, and so always happy to have her around. But at the end of the day, one day she is going to leave. And so what am I going to do at that point in time, right? Am I going to be able to take this thing on my own? Am I going to want to? Am I going to be able to provide this opportunity and this trajectory for not only myself, but for everyone else there on my own? And it was a big question that I really had to look at and think about. So that was where my head was at and how that conversation or that
sort of
path
came around. So basically you went from a sole entrepreneur or soulpreneur,
Right.
running on your own, to a family-run business, and now back to a large. Would you consider yourself how would you define yourself now? Part of a large corporation, but you still have a small division.
Exactly. Yeah. We're a large corporation. We're a small division of a large corporation. We're very specialized within Hub with what we do on the individual disability insurance, wage loss replacement plans and groups and so on. Very specialized within Hub there. So I think they look at us as a resource that they can use as well to help their other advisors grow as well as help us grow. But we're a small division. We're the Employee Benefits and Retirement Division of London, Ontario within Hub International Company.
Does that all fit on a business card?
Yeah, I don't know. I made that up. I hope it's approved by Hub.
It was really interesting, though, how it evolved. It took another family business because this family business had two of the kids that had now taken over the running of the company. And the father was just retiring. I don't know if he'll ever retire either, but, he was just retiring. And it just seemed to make a whole lot of sense. And when we opened the door again, what I was worried about is that I knew at some point I would leave. Now, right now, I can't even see me leaving before 5 years, but, I just didn't want to be there at age 80. And so I felt that I needed to look to the future. And I looked to what Justine would be faced with. And I kept thinking, okay, I started this business with nothing. And you grow it and you acquire skills or knowledge along the way. And Justine has a lot of that, but really her premier role is she's an advisor and she's a very accomplished advisor. So if I walked out the door and she ends up there's my clients, she's full. We've got other advisors. They're great. But I mean, could people take over all of that? And then what about some of these people in my office that have been with us for years, 15 years, 20 years? And I thought, where are they going to go? Like maybe they want to pursue some other higher level of management that I'm able to provide. And so as I got talking to Hub, I kept thinking, oh my goodness, all of the people in this office, including Justine, including Jarrett, would have so many opportunities given to them or provided to them. It's just whatever they went for. And I just felt that we'd all be in a better place.
And I think that's what, our listeners want to hear is that, there's room for change. And just because you've gone on one trajectory doesn't mean you can't change it. Maybe you haven't brought family in and now you're ready to retire and maybe now is the time to bring family in. Like there's lots of options. And I think that's what's important is it doesn't have to be cast in stone.
I think though what's really interesting is that I don't think Justina and I ever fought on anything ever until we started talking about Hub. And it wasn't that. You could just feel the emotion. I feel sorry for two others in our office that were with us during this journey because, the rest of the office didn't even know we were talking to them. And I was convinced this was the way to go. But it had to be Justine's decision because I was not going to be there for the long haul. She was. And she was taking her time because she was really unsure. And I can understand why that would be. We got to about December and we're supposed to be selling March the 1st. And I'm going, okay, let's start figuring this out. What are we doing? You know, and I remember she even wrote an email to them saying, well, I'm not really sure yet.
I wanted to be straight up. I didn't want to tell them on like February 20th if the answer was no.
I just kept thinking they just flew in all these forensic accountants from Chicago in order to go through our books and do something I'd never been through before.
But we'd always gone into this process with,
true.
We're just exploring. We're not committed to selling. And it wasn't until one day we were sitting down and we were actually just having a casual cocktail. I'm embarrassed to say, with some of them who were in London just, for a period of time, and they're just chit-chatting, how's everything going? And she was like, I'm so excited about this. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's 100% in. Like, I'm still 50%, maybe 60% in. She's 100% in. And that was my first realization of it. And it really scared me. So yeah, I was really open with her after. I'm not 100% in. So you got, hold your horses.
But the tension that caused, and I just want every business owner to know that is a whole new world. It was super emotional for us to do it. Tammy, it sidetracked us. I say 3 months. I would probably say 4 months, even 5. It sidetracked us. I've never been through anything like it. So emotional and everything else. And then when I could tell Justine was coming on board, and then you said something, and I forget what it was, and I knew you're there. And so I came home and I spoke to my husband, her dad, and I said, Doug, she's in. We got to have a family meeting. And I texted her and I said, when are the kids in bed? We're coming over. And the 4 of us sat there, and I just said, all right, we're moving forward. There can be no regrets. Say them right now. Say your concerns. And that was to the husbands too. And after that, everyone holds their peace.
We also had our no-goes.
Yeah,
right?
Our no-goes.
If this doesn't happen, or if this doesn't happen, we're not doing it.
Yeah.
So we made sure we were really clear on our no-goes.
Good. Well, I think that's important, right? You have to talk about it as a family. You have to all agree, because a lot of decisions you make can't be reversed. Right? And we talk about that with family businesses. Maybe you sell before really thinking about it, and you can't reverse it. So make sure you explore all the options. So I just have, before we wind up, I have a question to ask each of you, is what is the one piece of advice that you'd each give independently to a family business? One piece of advice to any family business. What's your one piece of advice?
Oh, I know right off the bat what it was. And it was a really good lesson for me. In the beginning, I kept telling Justine, yeah, it's going to be yours. It's going to be yours. You run it. I'll just hover over top and oversee it all. And I had somebody special that actually called me out of the blue for no reason whatsoever. And his family business had broke up. He was the second generation. It was a horrible thing. And he says, I'm going to make sure this never happens to you. And I'll tell you, stop it. Stop talking like that. If you're going to give it to her, give it to her. And tell her when she gets it, and make the plan. And I walked down that hallway to your office, and I said, I just got off the phone, and we're doing this, and we're going to do it differently. And I am not going to be this person that hovers over you. I'm going to be gone.
Well, that's good. That's good. And that's a tough thing for you, because I've known you for a long time.
Must have
it's
been
like me.
Yeah.
Weak moment. Was there cocktails involved at lunch?
Yeah. None. I think it must have been a bad day, though.
Yeah. For myself, and it kind of comes into this as well, is communication. There can never be too much of it. I think, one thing that my mom said was that we never fought until we got into the process or the conversations around selling. And even then, I wouldn't even say we fought. I would say we had some more tense conversations. We'd be annoyed at each other, but we weren't fighting. And I think that it's because we have always communicated beyond what you want communication on, and sometimes you're like, gosh, we're we got to have a conversation again. And it's always on a Saturday morning or something because when else are you going to do it, right? And, but we have always been extremely open with each other.
I think that's such a good point. I mean,
Always.
you cannot over communicate.
Yeah,
I don't think when you're in family business.
And I think we were always really fair to each other, right? She respected where I was at in business and in life and in just what my aspirations were, in the same way that I respected where she was at in business and in life and what she had built and accomplished. And I wasn't in there trying to take it from her, I was trying to grow it with her, and
Right.
I think that makes a big difference.
Well, good. Well, I really appreciate you coming in and telling your story. It was amazing. I really, again, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for both of you for coming in today.
Well, thanks,
for
Tammy.
inviting us. Yeah, I loved being here. This is like the coolest podcast room I've been in, and I want one
Well,
now.
thank you.
You're the coolest interviewer.
Yeah, good
Well,
point.
thank you. Thank you. So if they wanted to reach out to you because you are specialized in what you do, where would they be able to reach you?
You can find us at zavitsinsurance.com. That's,
Can you spell that?
well, it's Z or Z, AVITZ insurance.com. And you'll find all our contact information, phone numbers, and everything else on there. And you can reach out to us anytime. We'd love to chat.
I love the emails, though, too. They're pretty simple. Justine at zavitsinsurance.com. Terry with a Y at zavitsinsurance.com. And we've got lots of other people there, too, to assist.
We're on socials, too. Instagram, Facebook. Wish I knew what our handles were.
I totally 100% am with you on that.
Just search Zavits Insurance.
Yeah.
You'll find it. We're the only one.
The other day, I couldn't even remember what our web page was. Like, is it .com or .ca?
Yeah.
It's .ca, by the way. It's blueroots.ca. Anyway, again, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks, Tammy.
If you like this episode, subscribe to the Business of Family podcast on your favorite listening platform. You can also find Blue Roots on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. On the next show, I'll be back with another amazing guest who will inspire you with their family business insights. Until then, take care and keep it in the family. This podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal, tax, investment, or insurance advice. Before acting on any advice, please contact your personal or company advisors.